we got back to the. I mean, who among us have gotten ever back to the hotel after and then 2 hours later?
After a night of hooking, would you watch those records? Okay, no. I just watched like clips of it.
Really funny.
But there's this monster is like, after a night of hooking, I came and prayed, killed me, and then it burned me, so I crystallized into a fiend, and then she just did like a whole thing, and we're like, so I was like, after a night of drinking.
Nah, I don't get that. I've never gotten to the point where I'm like simultaneously like falling asleep, like, which is sort of surprising. But then again, I'm like deathly afraid of angels, so good to see you.
Good to see you too. I left some chocolates up there with Nelson for all of you guys. So yeah.
Are you gonna stick around?
Yeah. My dad, my uncles, and my mom's here, so I
really?
joined them. I was like, let me like pay them a visit and say hi.
awesome.
What are you up to now?
I'm at UT Austin right now, and I just finished my first semester of my second year.
How was it?
It was good. It was just really hard. Hi.
Oh, welcome back.
Thank
Nice.
you.
How you been?
Good. And you?
I'm very happy to see you.
Yes, you too.
I love it.
It's Grinch. Where's your green? It's Grinch Day.
In my defense, I had the perfect sweater, and I was
And
like,
the Grinch merch I have is a sweater, so I'm saving it
Okay.
for Friday.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Is Sam around here?
I just ran into Sam. She might be behind the counter
Yeah, I saw
or
her.
running to get something. We're about to start.
It was so nice seeing you guys.
Thank you for the chocolate.
Of course.
That's so sweet.
that's right. That's the guy with the burning hands.
World. Wow. Todo listo.
¿Cómo estás bien?
I was very stressed last night. I feel bad.
What are those?
The little we're gonna do like one or two words.
Oh, that's sweet.
No, I didn't. It's because I mentioned yeah, it's because I bought extra.
Sí.
And I'm using them for our hotel to give us like little cookies.
Yeah, that's cute.
Which one's the one that I have?
The coffee there. Oh, that one's right there. Yeah.
I was trying to give one to
I don't think he's
There's some
here.
Is Joseph Lucio related to Sam?
Fue jurada a checarlos ahí arriba y fue porque no hay nadie.
Pues aquí estamos.
Pero estoy pues arriba llegando. Pues.
¿Te fue? No más que ¿Es Nelly?
Well, that's what I was telling Melanie.
Yeah, they come
When I
in.
come in the house,
Yeah.
so that surprised me. I even went into the calendar and I was like, well, Erica's a bit fearless.
Yeah. Maybe put it in the chat.
Yeah, you're
Not everybody was out here.
I was like,
Guys, can you help me with something?
need help? Like, even with our standing, like, like, maybe instead of hiring people,
Yeah. To help with that.
¿Qué hago? ¿No ocupaste ese, güey?
Ahí estás en live ya.
¿Das cruda? ¿Das cruda? No, toma, ya me acuerdo. ¿Cuándo lo pones aquí, güey? Aquel de los corredores.
No, pues ya la.
Ya no puedo cargar nada.
Ya lo puse.
¿Ya lo pusiste el micrófono?
Ya están conectados.
Hiciste el test a ver si no salía el inicio como ya.
Yo lo puse también.
¿Y ese? ¿Para el Q&A?
¿Cómo te fue ayer?
Thank you. Traigo la viejita, you saw it.
Pass me that mic.
Let's give it another 2 minutes.
Imagine if you have those like dinners in Hollywood studios and like they go on stage, right? Oh, in theaters,
Se puede hacer porque esos lighting son para el LED lights. Nomás ocupas
they are dimmer lights.
nomás hay que instalarle el software de la.
O sea, las otras
A little bell.
yo les digo, bueno, a ver. ¿Vino la gente?
¿Ah?
¿Vino la gente?
Una no vino, pero lo cambié. Ok. Es... The Community Plug Award es ahí para Julio. Es el que conecta a toda la comunidad de YouTube. The Coffee MVP es para Armando. El Feedback Pro
Okay, we're ready?
es para uno de los Arriaga. Para Eric, es Eric Arriaga, ¿verdad? I think it's Eric.
Is it on? How do you turn it on? It's so
It
weird.
might be here. ¿No te escuchan?
No, o sea, porque lo...
Please, so we can get started. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. How are we doing this morning? Yeah? ¿Más ánimo, gente? ¿Qué les pasa? Well, thank you so much for being here this morning. My name is Linda Upland. I am the proud director of the Entrepreneurship Commercialization Center for UTRGV and one of your leads here at eBridge. You know, we're very excited to be hosting our last 1 Million Cups Brownsville of the year. And I am so proud that I guess, more than proud to say that this year we did not cancel a single Wednesday. So we were able to host our 1MC every single Wednesday since January to December. So I'm very proud of this UTRGV and BCIC team that hosts this every single week, bringing presenters, bringing connectors, bringing communities together. This is what we do. This is what we're here for, and we thank each one of you for being part of that community. So today we're gonna close with a great presenter. We are very proud that she said yes to us. So we're very excited to get started. I'll say a couple more words at the end, but now I'm gonna pass the mic to our lead 1MC coordinator, organizer here in Brownsville, one of my team members, Daniel.
Thank you so much. And I love to see the energy, by the way, in the room, and I love to see new faces, but also this is about community, so I love to see those recurring people that keep coming every single Wednesday, so thank you so much. So if it's your first time here, welcome. We do it every single Wednesday, like Linda said. My name is Daniel Garza. I'm a program specialist here at the Entrepreneurship and Commercialization Center for UTRGV. And this is a program that, in collaboration with BCIC, we bring it to you. This program is by the community, for the community. But I'll give you a little rundown before we get started. So So what is 1MC? Like I said, it's a very simple concept. This is a program where we bring two entrepreneurs, one in this time, to tell us about their story, to tell us about their journey, to highlight their business, and then us as a community to say, hey, what can we do to help? This is not about networking. This is about creating actual connections. It's about talking to the next person. I want you to, after this whole show, that's where the magic starts. That's when you turn to the other side, you see someone else and say, hey, nice meeting you. So if you don't find at least a friend after today, that's on you. So we're part of the Southwest region, guys. We're actually one of the newest 1 million Cubs here. But I do want to say, and I might be a little biased, that actually we are the best one. And why? Because our community is so strong, because our region is so strong, and we support all throughout. So thank you, guys. You make this exceptionally great for us. Yes, thank you. Over the course of the time that we've done this program, we've done 3,978, which I want to bring that to 4,000 soon, and I think we actually reached it. So for me, those are 3,978 cup of coffee. I'm going to have someone count you guys so I can say, like, today I built my 4,000 cup of coffee. So you guys are part of this. Thank you so much for being part of this number. So before we get started, please silence your phone. Be mindful of our presenters' time. Be respectful. If you need to take a call, please, you can step out. And before further ado, I want to introduce Morgan Lamantia from Community Relations at LFA Distributors. So thank you so much. Let's give it up for her.
Hi, I'm Morgan Lamantia, and I just want to say thank you all for coming today. I know the weather wasn't great, so I really appreciate you guys coming out. But, so I'm Morgan Lamantia, and I work at LNF Distributors. I'm Community Relations and Government Affairs for LNF. That position has actually been around for a long time. My aunt is doing community relations, and I always say I'm Val 2.0, that's my aunt's name, coming in next. But the reason why we have that position is because we've seen throughout our company's history is that it's so important to have ties with the community and with our government officials, not just for business reasons, but because we all live in this community and we want to help the community and give back. Because the community supports our business, supports our employees, and we want to be there and to support and help our community when they need the help or whenever we can. So that's why I really love this position, and my company, my family, supports that community relation portion of this business. But LNF Distributors has been around for over 40 years, almost 50 years, here in the Valley. It started in McAllen. Before that, we'll go back a little ways, my great-grandfather on my dad's side, he came over from Sicily at 8 years old, and he moved to Chicago. And he and his family and some friends started a produce warehouse, and they had a shop there. And to make sure that they always had fresh produce and they had the right produce and they were bringing in produce from other regions, he sent his son, my grandfather, to the Valley at the age of 17 to farm. So he started farming in Wesco, in McAllen, in Hidalgo County, and in Mexico as well, and shipping that produce up to our his father, my great-grandfather's shop in Chicago, and they were selling that produce up there. And the farm started growing, and he had 5 boys here in the Valley. 4 boys and 1 girl here in the Valley, and they started working in the produce and the ranching business, and we continued that for a long time. But then in the 80s, my grandfather, he was tired of kind of the unknowns of the farming and agriculture business. One year it was really good, one year was really bad. It was ups and downs. And he decided, you know what? Good day, you can go home, you're gonna drink a beer. You have a bad day, you can go home and drink your beer. Sounds like that's a pretty stable industry. So he decided to get into the beer industry, and he purchased a share in what was already established LNF Distributors in the Valley, because it was Longoria and Farias. He bought out Mr. Longoria, became Lamantia and Farias. Then Mr. Farias retired, and it became Lamantia and family, thus LNF Distributors. And as my grandfather always said, he had so many grandkids, he had to grow the business so that we could all have a job. So now we're in 13 locations across Texas and New Mexico with over 1,200 employees. And that came from the hard work and not just the family, but our employees as well, because that family portion isn't just the Lamantia, it's the entire family. We have generations of families that have worked for LNF Distributors, and it's that community working together, you know, bringing in our employees as part of that family, making decisions together. and establishing that tradition of hard work in every single one of us. Since the summer of the 6th grade, I worked for LNF. Started sweeping floors, answering phones, filing and shredding documents. Then I was working in the warehouse. They never allowed me to drive a forklift, though. I think they kind of knew I shouldn't be doing that. But I was doing everything else. Then they put me on a route. I was delivering beer. I was at HB. I was at Blue Marlin, switching out products on the shelves, moving things around. They also never let me go to the bars. It's a different thing. But I was at the grocery stores. I was at the convenience stores. You really get to know the community. You get to know the area. So I worked in Corpus. I worked in the Valley. I worked in Laredo. And that experience taught me how much hard work goes into this business, how much work is needed, but also the different cultures and relationships and how much this business and any type of sales goes into personal relationships. Having that one-on-one, talking to someone not just about sales in the business, but also about themselves, about their families, asking how their business is going, where they're hurting or where they need help and where we can help. Someone saying, hey, my sales are really high on this one product, but I'm seeing the price go up and it's hurting my sales, which is having an impact on everything else I'm selling in my convenience store. Can you help me with that? Then I can take that back to the regional or the higher up and be like, hey, this store is really good for us. They're a good partner. If we can give them a discount on this package or this product, they'll be able to do more and bring in more customers. And that's something that we can do and make that decision and take it back to them and help their business grow. It's all about helping out that local partner, that local entity. But it's also, so much of this goes into having relationships, not just with the locals. I'm checking my notes, making sure I'm on point. But having relationships with also your suppliers. Because a lot of the times, suppliers will make a change that could impact your business, that could impact you. So if you have a store, or like us, we sell to other stores and we have to basically shelf set, right? We have to make sure our product is gonna go in a certain spot in their store. And if all of a sudden the supplier decides, we're gonna change the packaging on this, we're gonna change the size of the can, we're gonna change the size of the box, now that box doesn't fit in that shelf space that you've allotted to it and that you've worked out with that location. So it's always about communication with your suppliers, communication with your locals, because when you make changes, whether it's us, and I learned this doing data analytics for my family, if I change something in the computer system, it could have unintended consequences all the way through the company that has ripple effects, from our warehouse, to our delivery, to our merchandisers and our sales guys. And that goes the same for our suppliers. When they change a package, that could have huge ripple effects all the way through. So making sure you understand your changes or any type of issues that you have with suppliers or anything can have ripple effects that affect not just you, but other departments and your other local vendors. So that's something that always needs to go into your thought process, and that always goes into mine now, and really helped pay dividends when I became an elected official, because I was like, wait, if we pass this bill, what are the unintended consequences that this could affect? We need to make sure we're aware of that, and we try to address that as much as possible, because what you think on paper sounds great. If you don't think it all the way through, and if you don't understand your business from the ground up, if you haven't worked in every single aspect of that business, when you make a decision, you may not understand how it affects everyone down the line. I think that's really important. And that's why I'm so appreciative that my family did make me work in the warehouse, even when I complained. They did put me on a route. And it's the reason why I can smell wet cardboard and stale beer from a mile away. But it's because of that experience, I had a better understanding of the entire system and how the company worked. And I had a better understanding of what was needed. And that was extremely helpful. But also, because my family kind of put in those processes, put in those procedures, and made sure that we are always prepared and ready, when all of a sudden something goes viral or the marketing hits and our products are flying off the shelves, we were already prepared for those types of situations because of the years of hard work, the years of preparation. And you never know when that's going to happen, especially for your business. For us, most recently, that happened with Busch Light Apple. We've had Busch Light Apple. It's a product that we have. It's seasonal for about 3 or 4 years now. This past year, it went viral on TikTok. I don't know why. It did. It went viral on TikTok. All of a sudden, we couldn't keep Busch Light Apple on the shelves. Before, we were discounting it like crazy to get it moving. Now we couldn't keep it on the shelves. I saw people calling, asking for it when it's coming back, and it just flew. And it was us having communication with our supplier, making sure that we had supplies, because when that started going viral, we started seeing that, we needed to get a lot more product in very quickly. And when you're dealing with a national supplier like Anheuser-Busch, sometimes that's not so easy. So making sure you have those relations and then those, that relationship with your suppliers, with those higher end either logistics or supply chain issues, you're able to pivot faster when that opportunity presents itself. And that all comes down to all the years of work you put in and the preparation you have in place before something like that happens. So you're ready for that instance of growth when that opportunity comes along. Like that though, one of, I think, especially in our business in alcohol, which is the most regulated business in the state, if not the country, it is so important for everyone to have a relationship with your elected officials, whether that's your local elected officials, with state, with the federal government as well, because so much of every single business can be affected by regulations and policies. Whether that's if you have a coffee shop and you want to have a food truck next door, all of a sudden you have a whole lot more policies and local certificates you have to go through and approvals than you have to deal with other inspections, parking, and things like that that come to effect. And if you don't have those relationships already when something like that happens, or if you want to grow and add on in addition to your building or change something that you're doing, you may have to run into all of a sudden now new regulations locally or even at the state level that you hadn't had to deal with before. And if you have those relationships with elected officials, it's a lot easier to navigate those types of systems. And when the state or the federal government decides to pass a law that's going to directly affect your business, you want to be able to pick up the phone and call someone to talk to them about it and not be just a stranger on a call that's called for the first time and then you get frustrated because you're not getting through to that elected official. It's about building that relationship early, having those relationships in place. So when that issue comes up, you know you can pick up the phone, you will get a response, and you will be able to have those conversations with someone who can make a difference and change that law or change that bill that's being processed that will help your business and not hurt you. Again, sometimes y'all understand the unintended consequences a lot more than a legislator will, and you being able to express that to them is incredibly important, can have huge impacts on your business. The last thing I'll say is I think one of the most important things we can do as business leaders and as people here in the community is supporting local. I think that's so important, not just to do that as your own business, but personally as well. We've had huge success with that. Most recently, Element Distributors, we are a distributor for 5x5 Brewery. They're a local RGV-based brewery. They're now all across the state, and we're able to partner with them and help distribute their product and bring it across the state. And we have had tremendous success with the Bud Light Edition Vaquero beer, and it being sold at HEBs and grocery stores and convenience stores, and it's just done really great wonders for us and our brand and our employees, and it's helped with, just spirit and vaquero energy, and it's something that came out of also 5x5 also having their Vaquero brand beer. And that one's such a great beer, and it's also an orange-flavored beer, which goes great with UTRGV. So 5x5 has their Vaquero beer, Bud Light has UTRGV Vaqueros, and we're able to share that not just here in the Valley, but across the state of Texas. And it's those partnerships helping the local guys grow and build and then seeing what they become. Rotel started in Wesco. JZD here in Brownsville was in Target. When we support local, personally, by going to the stores, shopping, learning about new local industries and businesses, but also finding ways to partner with them with our own industry and business, that's when we really start seeing growth in our community. That's when we start elevating everybody and we start seeing those breaks in generational poverty. So I'll leave it open for any questions. I hope I spoke for the 20 minutes, but not sure.
So you want to give it up to Morgan? So again, now this is the second part of the presentation where we, the audience, gets to ask the questions. But I would say it doesn't have to be a question. It can be a comment. It can be an advice. Maybe the presenter just solved anything you had to say. Like, you know what, I had that question, and at the end, at the last minute, they answered. I'm like, I had a good question. I can't ask it anymore. But now is your time to kind of inquire, to kind of give. So
When out into the public, I see my first hand.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
You mentioned something that I think is really important. You talked about the grandpa that, he took it from one point to have the farm, then, investing in, creating something so huge like that. And that's very impactful. I see, well, I don't know how you feel about it, but do you feel like you have huge shoes to fill? Like, do you feel like you have to put like a huge part of your for the company to propel it forward into like the next generation?
Absolutely. I definitely see, me and my cousins and my sister, so we call ourselves Generation 3. My grandfather's Generation 1. My dad and his siblings, G2. We're G3, and we definitely feel that we have big shoes to fill. And what G2, my dad and his siblings keep telling us is like, we did this, what are you gonna do? So they make sure that they remind us of that all the time. They also remind us that, hey, G4, my nieces and nephews, have now outnumbered G3, and they're all gonna need jobs, so you need a bigger company to hire them. But yes, definitely feel that every day.
That was my next question. What is your plan moving forward? Like, do you have anything in your mind to say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do to take it to the next level?
I would say that, so there are, how many, 15 of G3, me and my cousins, my siblings, there's 15 of us. And there's about 13 of us that all work, or 12 of us that work for the business. And so we've all come together, we have quarterly meetings where we talk, and we talk about that exactly. And so everyone's got kind of different ideas of where to go, and we each take it upon ourselves to really dig in, pitch to the rest of us, and we make a decision together as a collective. And we try to move in that direction. Obviously we want to grow when it comes to our beer sales, partnering locally. We're also getting into non-alcoholic beverages. We also sell wine and we sell liquor, and we're expanding that area of our business. But we're also looking at diversification. So we've gotten into, insurance and the healthcare space. But that's one of the reason we got into that was because we saw our expenses on our sheet go up and up and up. And everyone tells us, there's nothing you can do about healthcare insurance. There's nothing you can do about property casualty insurance. That's just a cost. We said, no. There's got to be something you can do. We couldn't find a solution, so we created it ourselves. And we've expanded that further into its own business. So not only does it affect our bottom line by decreasing our costs, we're able to do that for others and bring in profits from that area as well. So it's about focusing on a problem we may have, trying to find a solution, and if we can't find one, creating it ourselves, and hopefully turning that into an expansion of the business.
Morgan, great job on the presentation.
Thank you.
Question, how do you have your moral chart structured? And second question, how do you have everybody believe in the same vision for your company that you have people that sell on behalf of that?
So, my oral chart for today?
Well, no, your oral chart for the company.
Oh,
And then how do you have people that are in line with the same vision, the same?
absolutely. So one thing, at least with the family members, we hate titles. We hate that kind of thing. But what we do have is at the company, we kind of have a structure where, we have at each location, we've got our GM, our general manager here that handles Cameron and Williston County. It's Juan Arroyo. And he's actually been with us since he was in high school. He was delivering product at South Padre Island, summer job. And then he went to college and everything, came back, started working for us again, and was GM in Laredo. Now he's GM back home here in Harlingen. But from there, we have our sales, our regionals, and then our salesmen, and we have merchandisers, and we have our warehouse guys, and there's different departments and areas. We also have a corporate structure. So it's pretty much a very, whenever you go to a distributor, it's very similar structure that we have there. With the family members, we have different areas. We all grew up in the structure, and you've got to stay in that structure. And you've got to start at the very bottom from where warehouse or salesman, driving a route, merchandising, and then make your way up. For me, I kind of came out of that structure and went into the community relations part, government affairs. That works with our marketing team, which is off to the side and kind of oversees, it's a part of corporate. But that's how it works. We're also incredibly flexible. So we're always trying to make sure that we're covering everybody, and that if we need to create a new department, like fleet is now its own department, part of corporate that kind of oversees all of our fleet vehicles and maintenance and things like that. So we're always trying to make sure we are really filling the gaps, and but we can only do that when we have employees that are vested, that are willing to work hard and have that same work ethic that a lot of us grew up with. And that's so important. And when you talk about how do we make sure everyone in the company kind of has that same mentality, same messaging, and is going forward on the same path, we bring in a lot of our leaders in the business. We brought them in together a couple years ago is when it started, about 10 years ago. We brought them in together for basically a weekend retreat. And we said, we want to reestablish our mission statement. We want to reestablish our vision and our company slogan, our motto. What should it be? And we didn't want it to be, oh, my uncles or family members coming in and telling the employees this is what it is. We wanted to hear from the employees. So we brought all of them together and we said, this is what we want. You guys tell us, what do you think the company is? And they are the ones that came up with our slogan, which is humble, aggressive, honest. Something that has always been instilled in our company, and that they came up with that, and we said, this is amazing. I told them the acronym spells HA, but it works, and it's true. And so now we have that everywhere, and it's something that has really permeated and been instilled at every level of the company. It's to be humble, to be aggressive in the way we work, to be aggressive in our sales, but to always be honest with our suppliers, with our customers, with our vendors.
Morgan,
Yes.
great presentation. In regards of your distribution, I know it's pretty hectic, I know you're everywhere. How do you handle the shrinkage? Because of course, things happen, things break. How do you handle it from going from A direction to B direction and making sure the merchandise stays at impact? I know that, I don't know whether beer has an expiration date.
It does.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so when I was on a route, most recently it was, I've spent 7 weeks on a route in 2020. Yeah, it was during COVID, 2020. And one thing that we all, if you're on a route, if you see any guy out there delivering, every single one of us has a box knife, we have hot glue sticks, and we have a lighter. Because if you go to the back and there's a package that's broken and a couple cans have fallen out or bottles have fallen out and broken, and we always have a stack of those in the back, you end up pulling the ones, okay, I've got 3 missing here and I've got 6 missing there, I'll take the 3 here, put it in there, I take out my hot glue pen and my blowtorch, and I reseal that package and stick it back in the box, making sure that all the expiration dates and it's the same code, and put it in there. That's something that we do. We also have what we have called repackaging room back at the warehouse. So if we don't have the ability to repack something there at the store, we take it back to the warehouse. We have a whole stock room full of that kind of stuff, and we kind of do it there as well. And to the stores, yes, always. We have to. And that's one of the other issues is that absolutely. Yes, we do. And so we already have policies in place with all of our vendors, and they understand, like, hey, if I broke something, which I have, you know, when you're pulling out a 6-pack of a case of bottles, it clips on the top of the bottle opener on top of the bottle, and then all of a sudden a beer comes out, falls, and breaks. I pay for that. That comes out of my pocket as an employee, not out of the company's and not out of that vendor's. So if I broke a box, if I dropped a box, I drop a case, I pay for that. If something else breaks back there, you know, we're going to help you replace it, but we may not pay for that if, let's say, the bartender or the clerk is the one that broke that bottle. But we always try to help out in that area, and we always try to replace it. So if they have a box that's broken, and I can replace that by repackaging or pulling beer from the package store and replacing that, we'll do that wherever we can help. The only issue there is that since we're in the alcohol business, it's so heavily regulated, and we have a 3-tier system, there's very, very strict rules on what we can and cannot give to a store based on, you know, costs, and they have to pay for everything. So it's a very fine line of what we can and cannot do. It's black and white. There really isn't gray. But where we can, we do try to help. And yes, on expired beer, we do pull that, and we'll pull it before it expires in most cases. But hopefully, if we're doing our job, and if the marketing is there, we never have the issue of beer expiring on the shelf.
On a national level, at least young adults are drinking less. Are you seeing that here in the region as well, and how are you guys adapting?
We are seeing that. We're seeing that not just here in the region, we're seeing that across the state, and we're seeing that across the country. Young adults are drinking less. You're seeing alcohol sales across the country go down. However, Texas is one of the few states where we've seen actual growth in alcohol sales. It's not as significant as it used to be, as other states have, but we are number one in growth in alcohol sales. Below that, I think, is like North Dakota and Florida. So we have a little bit of growth here, but we are seeing a definite decrease. We're also seeing a shift in the mix. So when I say mix, it's like typically we have 80% of our sales are beer, 7% of our sales are wine, another smaller percentage is liquor, and then we have what we call the alternative, the seltzers, the alcohol and liquor in a can or ready to drinks, the micheladas, that item. The mix is shifting to where now beer is more 70%, and has shifted over to the non-alcoholics. So we're seeing growth in that area. So while we're not seeing an overall growth, we are seeing a change and a shift in our mix. And that's really interesting to watch and see. But we are seeing the younger generations not drink as much. And the best explanation I've heard is that that's attributed to I hate to say it, but social media and the fact that younger generations aren't socializing in groups as much anymore. I grew up going to a bar and having a drink with friends, or going to a club and going dancing, or going to someone's house and having a drink. And you're seeing less of that kind of going out and socializing in groups, more staying at home, going to school, and not getting out as much. And so, that's just something that's kind of our new reality and what we're looking at, and everyone's trying to figure out how to get around that.
Hey, hello. You talked a lot about how having a relationship business to business is great for solving any problem that may arise. Now, you've been in the inside of the policymaking, and you encourage us to talk to politicians and make voice be heard, right? There's sometimes a lot of voices talking at the same time.
Right.
What are some good ways for entrepreneurs to make some noise and make their voice unignorable? They cannot be ignored because their concerns are too loud that politicians have to look at them. What are some good ways to reach out and be heard?
One thing is invite a politician, whether local, state, anything, invite them to your business. Give them a tour. Allow them to talk and meet your employees. When they're able to put a face to the issue, when they're able to put a face in the store and a personal story attached to it, it resonates longer with them. So when that call happens, when you need your voice heard, they can go back and they remember being there, talking to your employees. They remember having that conversation with Robert at your store and his story about his family. They remember talking to you about an issue that you had in the past, and it sticks longer with them, and it's something that they can recall, and it has a personal tie, tugging at the heartstrings, essentially. That's really, really helpful. The other thing is, if you have an issue, call, email, yes, write a handwritten note. Politicians never get handwritten letters. Very rarely do we ever get a handwritten letter. So when we get a handwritten letter, that goes directly to their desk on the top of the pile because it's so rare. It helps. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's great advice, actually. Thank you again for being here. My question is, we live in a space where we support entrepreneurs and small businesses, but we also have an international community that is very eager sometimes to enter into the United States with different products and services and so forth. We ourselves, in our center, we support global, we have a global soft landing program. And believe it or not, we have a lot of liquor that's coming in.
Yes.
Tequila, mezcal, especially from Mexico and Latin America. What is the access to be able to have, for these entrepreneurs and even local ones that are developing their own distilleries and their own beer, like 5x5 and Pluton here in Brownsville, how do they sort of have that conversation with LNF, or what is the process to enter into potentially becoming either a supplier or being, kind of reviewed by your company?
Call us. And, call us, talk to me, talk to any one of our guys that you see, even if they're unloading trucks. They'll give you a phone number. They'll have you call our GM. Call us and talk to us. Our biggest issue, so we have Starbase Brewery as well, which is also based here in Brownsville. We've spoken to Pluton. There's also a winery in Los Fresnos, and there's, another local, not tequila, but agave here in the valley as well. One of our biggest reasons why we'll say no, why we can't pick up, let's say, Pluton and distribute them, is because they're not at the level yet where they have enough product for us to regularly distribute and make sure that the stores or the restaurants that we have and that want their product can make sure that they have a regular supply of it. Because if you go to a bar and they have your beer on tap and you love it, it's great, and then you go back a week later and it's gone, and then 2 weeks later they still don't have it, you're not going to be going back to that bar for that beer because you can't depend that it's always going to be there. So we want to make sure when we pick up a new supplier, we can make sure that our vendors, the retailers, can depend on that delivery happening on a regular basis. So until that level starts happening, then we can start distributing and selling that. That's why Pluton and that tequila in the valley as well, sorry, the agave in the valley haven't been able to pick them up yet, just because they're not at that level. You also don't want to expand too quickly. You want to be able to keep that quality, because that's what's really going to make sure that your product has a long life.
Senator, thank you so much for sharing your story. One of my favorite stories to hear you share is about the creation of the STAR Scholarship Fund. Would you mind sharing that with the audience for those that don't know?
Absolutely. So around the time, this was in the 90s, so we'd been in LNF for about 10, 15 years by now, and my grandfather wanted to make sure that people in our community had the chance to go to college and get a higher education. He didn't, and so he was able to help two of my uncles, my dad and one of my uncles. They went to college, they graduated, but he wanted to make sure other people had that opportunity as well. And he knew that if we had an educated community here in the Valley, it was going to help all of us. It was going to pay dividends at the company, because now we had an educated workforce to pull from. Now we had our retailers and our vendors having that education and that support system that was going to be able to grow their business and help the community grow. And when communities grow, typically beer sales grow. So it helps, it's all connected. And so he started a scholarship foundation. Actually, we started with Hispanic Scholarship Foundation, and then we realized that our money was going to the national level and was being spread across the country, but we wanted that money to stay here in the Valley where it was raised. So we started STAR Scholarship Fund, and it's grown. So now we cover Corpus, basically if you draw a line from like Corpus across, everything south, and also El Paso. So we have fundraisers. If you guys want to contribute, go to STAR Scholarship to our website, .org, and contribute and donate money. But also, come January, the scholarship application opens. This is open to everyone and anyone who's from the Valley, who grew up here, who went to high school here, who lives here currently. If you aren't from here but you moved down here, you can apply as well. It's not just for freshmen going to college. If you're an adult and you're looking to go back to school to continue your education, get a higher degree, get a different degree, you can apply for it too. So apply, spread the word, help us raise money and give back so that we can make sure our community continues to get the opportunity for that higher education. And 100% of proceeds that are donated to STARS goes directly to scholarships. LNF foots the bill for all the other expenses. So help us, donate STARS, but also spread the word on the application. Let's make sure that people that want to go to school aren't stopped because of the financial burden.
And then the last question, usually this is the last thing of the program, is how can we as a community help you?
Buy some beer. We've got Michelob Ultra, we got Bud Light, we got 5x5. My favorite's Busch Light. Have some beer, grab some wine for the holidays. We do sell that too. Red Bull, that's one of ours. We've got liquor, so by all means, have fun, celebrate responsibly.
Which, by the way, I do want to say the senator brought a little gift for all of us here. We're going to distribute them a little bit, but you want to say thank you so much, and thank you so much for your time. Let's give it up for her. So,
thank you.
Thank you, Senator, so much for being here today. We do have a little token for you. I do want to recognize all elected officials that are here today. Thank you so much for supporting us. Please keep coming back to continue supporting us in this program here in Brownsville. But I want to thank the Senator for being here. Your story is inspirational. It's a legacy corporate, business, and we do have some entrepreneurs that we support that have that, that need or that, that want to become a legacy business for their kids, for their for other family members, and that's something that we support here at eBridge and at the ECC as we continue to support all our entrepreneurs and our small businesses to grow and, have the success that your company has had, because we are true believers that if we cannot bring the big companies, we can definitely grow our own companies, and they can be big industry here in the Valley. So thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate it. Wait a little bit, guys. We have some awards to give you because it is our last 1MC of the year. But don't worry, we will come back on January 7th with our new year of tremendous amount of presenters, new programs to offer you guys for the entire Valley and here at eBridge. And RGV Startup Week is coming, so get ready. We're going to call on you. So I'm going to pass it back to Daniel. Thank you, Senator, so much for being here.
I'll give you a little. And again, I started this crazy journey in May, and when I got involved with the community, I was like, I started seeing the same people every Wednesday, and I started recognizing faces, I started learning names, and it just demonstrated for me how strong our community is and how impactful this can be. Like when I started hearing stories about, I found a friend in 1MC, I found someone who was involved in my company, I found someone that can be my partner in my next venture. That's when I realized the power of what we do here. And we wanted to recognize some of our staple community members by giving them a little award, a significant award for them. So I'm gonna get started. So the first one I want to do is the 9 a.m. sharp award. This person, and actually I have two people in mind. They were here at 9 in the morning. They see me running around like a chicken without a head, trying to get the live going on, having the coffee set up, and these people are just that one phase that I'm like, okay, today's gonna be a good day because I saw these people. So I want to call Juanito. You're one of our OGs, so can you please come this way? Again, Juanito has his designated spot in this table. He always sits here, and like I said, every time I see you coming in, I'm like, today's a good day. So thank you so much for showing up with us. Thank you. You wanna? Let's go further.
It's a trophy.
It is a trophy. And I have one more person for this. Señor Roberto, can you come this way, por favor, para venir? Por favor. El señor Roberto fue una de las primeras personas que conocí y es de esas personas que llega a un cuarto y la llena con esta energía tan padre. So, muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. ¿Y viene desde Río Hondo?
Río Hondo.
Desde Río Hondo viene todos los miércoles. Así que no hay excusas. ¿Puede pasar este lado, por favor? There's no excuses, guys. If you can come from Rio Hondo, I need to see the Brownsville beef here every Wednesday. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. The Big Energy Award. This person is the one person who's, every time he's here, you can just feel it in the room. He is closer to everyone. He makes sure he talks to every single one. He asks those questions that you're like, man, he is interested in this. And he actually happens to be one of our biggest member and collaborators with 1MC. So I want to give it up to Nelson Almaro. Thank you so much for being that one energy. Thanks so much.
Oh, Nelson!
It's real gold. Please don't sell it. Again, thank you so much, Nelson. Asking the real questions award. This person is like, I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to throw you on the loop. And I love it because sometimes, and I've heard it from several presenters, that it's like, you know what, I haven't thought of that, and now I need to know the answer for the next one that I'm coming. So I want to give this to Eric Arriaga. Thank you so much for being this one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know, I remember when he first started coming. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you. Our next one, the Community Plug Award. How can I begin to describe this person? Okay, so this person, every time that I hear a new idea, and this is my directory. Like, I get to talk to this person. I'm like, I'm gonna introduce you to this, and he's gonna introduce you to this person, and you're gonna get to this point. he is a backbone for also for our team, so I want to give this to Julio Quiroga. Thank you so much for connecting communities together. And I know you're thinking this is rigged, this is part of the team. No, it's not, because although he is part of our team, he is the one person that's passionate about this program connecting others, so it's not rigged. Again, how can I begin to introduce this person? You guys enjoyed our coffee today, and a lot of the times they're like, "Oh my God, thank you guys for buying us a coffee." And actually, that's not the thing. Every single time, or most of the times, there's coffee on the table is because someone believed in our mission. Someone said, "Hey, I want to support the community more than I'm already doing," and this is a person who already does a lot to support the community. And this person, like I said, I met him, and since day one, he was like, "Hey, I don't know you, but I'll get you your coffee. I'll make sure you're gonna have coffee every Wednesday. I'm gonna make sure that these people get together and have something to connect over with." So I want to give it to Armando Hernandez. Thank you so much for being that one MVP. For many more cups of coffee. He's like, "Why did I win?" And then, my last one of the day, I have a couple more, but I'll give them to you specifically, don't worry. But this person, like I said, this person has presented the most weight, which for me, it translated into a person who's very passionate about this. A person who's building community, a person who says, "I have something to say and I have something to do." And not only that, this person actually feels so passionate that after 1 million cups, he makes a little club. They talk about AI, they talk about developments, they talk about, like, he builds community. He's like, "I have this to say, and I'm gonna make sure everyone hear it because I'm sure that they're gonna get something out of it." So where's Steve? I don't see him.
His son is here.
Huh? His son is here, well, his son is gonna, well. He was here earlier, and I told him to be here, but I'll give it to him in person, but can you just please give it up to Steve? Well, in behalf of Steve Perez.
I look like him.
Yeah, you look like him. There you go.
I'll
Thank
give it
you.
to him. I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him. He's somewhere hiding.
He's somewhere hiding. I'm gonna give it to him later, and I'll get after him. Don't worry.
Let's put my things.
The Big Motivator Award. This person, I met him a couple months ago again, and he is always the one person who tells the audience, "I'm gonna give you the speech today. I'm gonna give you the energy today." And this person is Mr. Ed Arriaga. Can you please step forward? Last week we had this little energy, and I'm like, "Give me just 2 seconds. I promise you're gonna get everyone motivated." I'm like, "You do you. Whatever makes you happy." So thank you so much, Ed.
Well, thank you again. I was not expecting this trophy, but Big Motivator Award, that means a lot to me. So if we can all get together again and do one part, as long as we're doing our passion, could you imagine how all of us can grow? So again, thank you again. I was not expecting this. Thank you so much.
That's how you know it was not rigged. I promise I did, I think hard enough for this. Like, he got it. Ultimately, guys, my biggest award is for you. Thank you so much for making this possible. Thank you so much for coming in every single Wednesday. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us. And I will see you next year. So I'll pass the mic to Linda one more time. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Daniel. Give it up for Daniel. He received all the awards. Every Wednesday, ever since May, when you became part of this team, I told you it was not going to be easy. I do want to recognize a group that's back there. Ruben, can you stand up, please? He has brought, this passion to this, these guys. They're going to be our coffee sponsors all next year. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Keep coming.
He's a community builder award.
Yes, Community Builder Award goes to Ruben Obel. Thank you, Ruben. So, on behalf of UTRGV, on behalf of BCIC, on behalf of eBridge, I want to wish all of you, we want to wish all of you happy holidays. I hope you have some time to spend with your loved ones. Enjoy the holiday. We are definitely going to enjoy ours because we do need a little break, but we'll be coming back in January stronger than ever. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you so much for supporting all our programs across the Valley. We really do, and I really have a team that is passionate about what we do, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to impact so many lives. And I can honestly say that I'm very proud that we have served so many entrepreneurs, so many small businesses in this community by connecting them, by supporting them, by providing programs, and it is what we do. So thank you so much on behalf of UTRGV and BCIC. Thank you for being here today. Enjoy, and we will see you next year. Happy holidays, everybody.
We're gonna read. Yes. Let me have someone help you out.